Hi Starseeds, it's Opheana and Sikaal here. Today we would like to discuss with you how long energy work lasts for. For instance, with the temple work that we do, with calling in the Ascended Masters and the Family of Light. We are cosmic shamans and teachers of universal consciousness.
Well, it's a very interesting question because there are a lot of answers, but we're going to give you the answers that we feel are most relevant for you when you're doing this. Okay, so, you know, it'd be super cool if you could say, all right, I'm going to do all this energy work. I'm going to learn how to set up my pillar, how to call in temples, call in my support teams and say, and this lasts for the whole year or forever and ever across all time, space and dimensions, and I'm set, I'm done, I can cruise now. But that'd be the same question as saying, how long does a shower last? Well, it depends on how active you are, if you're happy with certain circumstances, yes or no, and how happy you are with, you know, how things are moving forward. So basically what I want to say is, when energetics around you are intense, let's say you have to go to a very low frequency environment. Why? Because you work there still, or you have to visit people that perhaps are lower frequency and you know it's going to have an impact on you, then your energy work is going to last lower. It's like in the sci-fi movies. How long does a shield last? Well, if you're being fired upon, your shield is going to last very low amount of time, pardon me. But if you're just cruising around, your shield can last very long. And so it's really dependent on the circumstances. It also depends on how strongly you've set it up. Have you anchored your energetic shield, for instance, to 100% power, or have you just done a little bit of it? Have you done a haphazard pillar in the morning when you got up and just said, oh, and do some temples, guys? That's not as powerful as when you sit with it, even for 5 minutes, and do a very powerful energetic setup, calling in your, you know, doing your pillar from source down to earth or galactic core, calling in the temples, calling in your support teams. When you're going to do a healing session for someone or for yourself, or you're going to do a meditation and you have done the temples, then they'll be totally fine for during that meditation. But then when you're out and about in the normal world again, then that energy work, it's also sealed up, so that will move on. So you'll help hold your pillar with you, and your support team is always with you. But due to free will, you always need to call them in. So it doesn't work as such and say, all right, Archangel Michael, you are with me, I feel your presence, always be with me, and I never have to call you in again. Cut any cords that, you know, are around me immediately. I never have to do anything again. That's all up to you now, Michael. You can't hand your responsibility over to him. So you always need to refresh that. It's kind of like in a phone call. You make that phone call once, but it doesn't mean that whatever you're going to say in the future phone calls can all be discussed in the one phone call, if that makes sense.
Or a candle that eventually...
Or a candle that, you know, it burns out, you need to relight, or a new wick. So it's kind of like you need to see it as a refreshment. Why? Because the collective consciousness field, your linear timeline due to choices changes all the time. So this is a daily practice. It's like, I only need to meditate once. No, you need to continue to meditate. Why? Because it's part of how you choose to live your life. You know, and it's like, how often do I eat? How often do I do that? Well, these things are regular occurrences, and so is your energy work.
Beautiful. So to allow yourself the presence each day, it's beautiful to do the energy work. It's a beautiful time before you begin your meditation, or just as you wake up in the morning, before you speak to anyone, before you get on a device, before you do anything really. Our advice would be, it would be the first thing that you do. You know, you sit down, you know, maybe make a cuppa and just sit and do your energy work. And that would be just clearing, because in the dream time, you can, especially as an empath or telepath, you know, if you're high level, you can be reaching out, and just automatically dreams can trigger you to connect in with people again. You know, if you're having negative dreams in any way, all of that type of thing, just really clear the debris out of your field. And so there we go. Every morning would be really nice. And then throughout the day, just feeling into, oh, I can feel a little bit of a build build-up of some sort, I'm feeling a bit ungrounded, do the pillar and just do a bit of a check, you know, check if there's any cords, you know, create a system for yourself that will actually be quite simple for the middle of the day, you know, and when things are really heavy, more than once in the middle of the day.
Absolutely.
And then again at night before you go to sleep, you really want to go into dream time, into your sleep time in a really clear space. So before you go to sleep, very important. So that's from our perspective, absolutely morning and night.
Yeah.
And then through the day, depending on the level of what's going on in your day. If you're, you know, living in the mountains and you haven't seen anybody and your thoughts have been pretty positive, you could maybe check in during the day, but you may not even need to do that.
Exactly.
If you're going out into the city, people are connecting with you, you've let your shield get really low, you know, you've made some choices to connecting with people so they feel nice and you're kind and all of that type of thing. You've collected a few icky energies, etc. You're gonna have to do it fairly regularly. And then on the other side of it, if there's any kind of psychic attack, if you're making choices in your life where it's irritating people,
or there's people on your pillar,
yes, there any connections from other people,
cords,
you know, there's a lot of different levels of permission in the field that you can give permission for loved ones, for people with your DNA, for soul family, for friends, etc., etc., etc. You know, people that you knew years and years ago that may think of you, you may think of them, connect. So basically what we're saying is stay conscious, stay aware of it. Definitely from our perspective, again, check in with yourself first thing in the morning, last thing at night, and check in throughout the day. Maybe you'll need to do it 5 times if it's a heavy duty day. Maybe you'll need to do it every half an hour if it's a hardcore, major psychic attack.
Absolutely.
We have experienced this.
Yep.
There have been people in our life that have had a thorough dislike of us. Situations.
Yeah.
That's what happens in life when, you know, you make choices other people don't like, etc., etc. So, you know, it's your responsibility to do that. Like Sikaal said, the shields wear down and you need to just refresh it, you know. And then on the other side of it, if everything's pretty cruisy, just feel into that. And sometimes you can get a bit over relaxed. If you're feeling over relaxed, still keep clean. It's like, you know, you may not see the dust on the tile floor, but when you actually sweep it up, it's like, oh, there was actually some there. It's always nice to just keep everything really clean. You want a clean vessel for that spirit to run through.
You know, and as a general guideline, just hold on to that 3 times a day. Definitely with a bit more emphasis, like Opheana said, on the morning and the evening and the middle of the day. That's a really nice base sort of, and we'll be talking about this more in the future courses and things like that. But for now, hold on to that. Those are the 3 moments you always just want to have, especially as you know, as you raise in your consciousness, this becomes just a part of life. And if you don't want to do any of this stuff and you think, oh, that's all the extra effort, that's okay, but your field is going to get loaded up. You're going to carrying it all and you're going to be choosing to have it all with you. So at some stage, you've got to get into this stuff, learn about it, and really start refreshing it. And when there is heavy duty stuff going on, either in the field or a psychic attack, or you have lots of cords, or just intense situations,
or initiation,
or you've just, you know, moved house and changed job and everything's intense and the kids are crying all the time, everything's intense, then you might need more energy work all the time, or your thought process is particularly low, you feel really low, then you're probably going to draw in lower frequencies as well, so you need more of that energy work as well. So hold on to that baseline of 3 times a day, and from there as often as needed. So call in the teams and you'll feel when it wears off. I mean, obviously the teams are always with you, ready to work with you, but you have to call them in because they can't due to your free will. We've said that over and over again and repeat it again because it's your responsibility. It is your field. It is not Archangel Michael's role to always manage your field. He's got his own field. And he's an ascended master, so he manages his field in a different way, but you call him in and he's there immediately for you. But you need to do that, and you need to set up the temples again, refresh them, do your pillar again. It's not enough to set up your pillar on Monday morning and it'll last you the week. It won't. Yeah. Why? Because we're in high level energetic times and it's just a refreshment. If you want to smell fresh, then 1 shower a week might not be enough, especially if it's summer. So, you know, those are the things your energy needs to be. And why would you want to keep your energy fresh? Why? Because you'll be the clearest vessel, you'll allow most of your spirit in, you'll manifest the highest potential timelines.
Feel joy.
Feel joy most, feel abundant, feel health, feel all of the good things you want for you and the people around you. So keeping a clear field is super important.
Absolutely. Yeah, and the team just wants to remind you that it's really about keeping your awareness at a very present state, because, you know, Sikaal said you'll feel it when you need to, but a lot of people don't, because of their busy lives or because something needs to be done or whatever. But, you know, for our family, you can really clearly see, because we're very present in our daily lives. One of the kids, you know, if there's just something, you know, they've been on a device, they've seen an ad, they've played a game on the computer, whatever it is, if there's a switch in their personality that's not normally them, or they're irritated or something's going on, then it's time for a clearing. It's either their own emotional stuff, but often if they're influenced by the field, they've been pulled off their center. It's time for a clearing. The same with everybody. It's very important to be aware of, oh, my mood has changed. Is this, you know, something shifting through me, or is this, I need to do a clearing? What choices have I made? Okay, just sit, come back into my center, clear the space. And that's really important, to stay present with how you're feeling and behaving, because it's not always really who you are. Well, it's not who you are. It really isn't. All of those behaviors and emotions, it's not who you are, not at all. You're divine spirit. And so when you're not behaving from divine spirit, that's what needs to be cleared.
But it can be as simple as well as, due to something someone said to you, or something you saw online, or whatever happened,
movie,
you got triggered. A part of you, maybe known as an aspect, or even a soul extension, which is part of your spirit, got triggered and is in your field, and either needs some healing, needs to be cocooned, needs to be worked with. So that is also part of managing your energy. So how long does energy management last? Well, as long until you feel off balance. But there is a standard regime within that to start as a base to hold on to. I mean, if you don't do the dishes, then they're going to stack up. It's just the way it works. If you don't have showers, at some stage you're not going to smell very nice. And so those are the type of things with energy work as well. If you don't do your energy work, at some stage it's going to get icky, and it's going to weigh you down, draw your thoughts down, draw your emotions down, and that's not what you want, nor does it need to be that way, because it's you becoming a conscious creator as a high initiate to hold on to these and take responsibility for your field.
Absolutely.
Because that means that you not only create the highest timelines for you, but also for others that you come in contact with, for a group consciousness effort. And if everybody did that on Earth, you can imagine how new Earth can be created, or people can raise into new Earth in a much quicker and cleaner way.
Beautiful. There's just so much to discuss in this area. You know, you can use a lot of the techniques that comes through our meditations. You can use your own techniques. You can use physical techniques like you know, qigong, yoga, tai chi, different ways to shift energy through. Calling in the teams, doing your pillar, for us always number one thing to begin with, so that you're really bringing in your own energetic signature through this. So I hope that helps, and we love you guys. Many, many blessings.
See you next time, guys. Many, many blessings.
Lots of love.
Lots of love, guys. See you next time.